gonna go live.
He's on the beat, on the beat.
Different. We're gonna see how the park's looking, man. And remember, we're keeping open-minded, man. We learn every day. Right, do my beat very hard. Everybody's great to feel like in the building. Great to everything's organic, man. Money's the panic, man. They could never make us sing. This ain't no Titanic, man. Leo DiCaprio. I play like a Raggio. Whiskey I'm a yardie. Don't need Henny, don't need Bacardi. Bare spirits up in my body. You can hear, tell somebody. This ain't the Laurel or the Hardy. Ed Hardy, I don't need Ed Hardy to go to their party. That is Illuminati. I would move, I'm moving smartly. This is gang, it's in my body. That in a generation in the lobby. We don't need JR, we don't need Bobby. That is Dallas, you will find me. All the way in Stoking Hyde. Yeah, chill out with my wifey. That's my empress, simply the best. This is gang where we're on request. We get rid of any silly press. We have to come here and pass the test. This is MistaRax TV, it's live. In our life where we have to thrive. People will put you and I unify. Usually they want us to dead, but you know we will bust lead. With the tongue and the gums I said, lyrical massacre, bled. Now they want us just sped. On the Galera, V-Red moped. Now they said they boast about on road. Who gets them in the most head? We don't want to teach the youth that. Teach them some idle facts. We don't need the rifle, and they don't want to kill in the flat. With a king in the pack, got the queen up on my lap. We get out of the trap. Tell them stop lapping up crack, just to shove it up their arse crack. We told them have to stop that, just to sit on the flat, just to be a rat. They turning informer, they're not hot like a damn sauna. We got the lava, no drama. BV's got body armor. Now we keep calmer, show the people all about karma. Remember, you can save your money, buy a house in Bahama. Sit in your pajama, bend up like banana. I make you laugh, innit? You know we got it going on, yeah. There's more questions than answer. Don't sell your soul to be the dancer. MistaRax TV, to the crowd we make an advancer. We are the skanker, cannibal just like a blanca. This ain't acting, this ain't Casablanca. Humphrey Bogart, we have a heart. We slowly G-walk, we ain't got no time to march. Remember, don't ever see our eyes and think we're too hard. There's Mac who hit the target, roll them up just like a carpet. We go the hardest, we're not bastard. Don't ever style me as the bastard. This style has been mastered. Could've speed it up faster, but it's gonna be their disaster. Don't listen to no pastor. In the church doing their work, they go and shop the B-word. We gonna give them what they deserve. This style will be preserved. This is live off on the dome. We don't bop about with chrome, so you can leave us alone. Stop studying in the neck chromosome. MistaRax TV, let's go. Let's go. Still busy for this time of day.
Yeah, man, still. I don't even know what's going on. Let's go have a look. Let's go have a peep what's going on. Big up everyone in the chat. Big up the MistaRax.
Not going for divorce and sleeping around. But we've forgotten that. We now live in a world where anything goes, you do what you like, and the consequences are broken families, it's divorce, it's suicide, it's disease, rampant STDs, mental health all over the place. We can remind you not to become Muslim, but say in your own tradition, in your own Christian tradition, these values are there. Go back and find them, rediscover them, live by them, and this will benefit society for the common good. Because we've lost that sense of the common good, because we've gone for extreme individualism where I do what I want, and as long as I don't physically harm you, it doesn't matter. But it doesn't matter, because if I'm selfishly living for myself, I'm not having children, I'm not living a responsible traditional life, then I'm harming those around me. And so Muslims can remind, and traditional Sikhs can do this as well, traditional Jews can do it. We're not here in big numbers, that's the point. Muslims are here in bigger numbers. So we can remind about the benefits of traditional living, and also the centrality of God. Because British society has forgotten God. This is the big thing. This is the big thing.
You're told to expect our Bible clearly says this. But there is persecution and there is ethnic cleansing. This guy, yes, I really don't think there is persecution, but there is a systematic eradication of Christians in a region that Muslims are living in. This is a near genocide kind of system, and it's getting no media coverage. We saw this in Iraq, that there used to be 1.5 million Christians, they're down to 250,000. We've seen this in Syria, the Christians are being driven out of the land. And if we talk about it, we're being Islamophobic. But
all we're doing is Christian.
Yes,
we're just being Christian.
Yeah, we're being Christian. We're not taking the battle.
Because the Christian faith. Because the Christian faith.
Sorry, Catholicism is nothing to do with Christianity.
He's an anti-Semite.
Nothing to do with Christianity.
He's here to push some ridiculous...
Catholicism isn't a cult. It's nothing to do with Christianity.
Brother, he's just here to push some ridiculous conspiracy theory about the Jewish people. You're an idiot, mate. You're a total buffoon. Now, but the fact is, as Christians, we have a moral obligation to speak up for and to
Tommy Robinson
stand
spoke
up
the truth,
for
he did,
our brothers
mate.
and sisters.
Yeah, he did.
We have an obligation to stand in solidarity
he spoke
with our
against
brothers and sisters.
Islamisation that's going on in this
wherever they are
country
in
at the
the world.
moment.
That means standing with Nisar when they attempted to kill him in Bradford. It means
And he got
standing with the
persecuted, he was locked up in prison.
Nigerians when they tried
For no
to kill
reason.
them in North Nigeria.
No reason.
It means standing with Christians when they tried to kill them in Egypt. And it means standing with Christians when they tried to kill them in Pakistan.
He stood up against them.
And we need
He stood
to
up
become
against them.
activists.
He stood up against them.
The
No, he
Christians
doesn't.
of the West,
No,
the
he
Christians
doesn't.
of the
No, he
West,
doesn't.
leave him, bro. The Christians of the West have been pacified by a liberal narrative. We have become the doormats of Western society. We need to become activists, because if we don't become activists, we have failed in our discipleship. Being a disciple means becoming an activist.
You're just a left wing,
And
mate.
if we don't become activists,
You're a lefty, mate.
then the vacuum
just a lefty.
created by liberal secularism will be filled by something other than the church.
Bob, can I just address something? You talked about liberal secularism. Now, we've just seen this guy talking a lot of unnecessary...
He's deranged.
This guy,
No,
he's got mental health issues. Don't listen to this guy over here.
We live in a
He's got
society
mental health issues.
that people voice an opinion.
He hasn't taken
and they
his
have not
medication
looked at
today,
their
guys.
people being killed. There are Christians being persecuted. Not once in the statement has Bob said, oh, let's retaliate for anything.
Thank you.
He has not
Thank you.
tried
Thank you.
to encourage any anger or hate. We're not. No one here has said anything against
We don't
Islam.
believe in revenge.
Muslims. That is not our point.
Allow God
we
to
are
have a
saying that
vengeance.
we should look at this injustice and see how we can bring it to an end.
Yes.
That is what we're
Amen.
asking for. So if it takes community leaders or politicians to talk with the leaders in the Islamic world to curtail the movement of these groups that are causing this violence, they can be spoken with.
Yeah.
They have a spokesperson somewhere that
But,
can be reached.
but the thing is, like what happened with ISIS, the ISIS is an example where you couldn't negotiate, because the person that would sit across from the table with you would have no rational demand. Their demand would be total submission, and the West intervened. So where it is necessary to stop groups like Boko Haram, then we should, as Christians, call for intervention that is sufficient to stop the problem.
Can I support your statement on the intervention? If you look at the Global Terrorism Index, the Boko Haram are actually considered the #1 biggest terrorist organisation. And the Fulani militants are #4 in the Global Terrorism Index. So if they are actually more dangerous than ISIS, how come the West does not intervene to get rid of Boko Haram as well?
Why is it they intervene? I'll tell you why. Because we remember when ISIS cleared out Mosul of all of its Christians, the West did nothing. Now, the West intervened when it was made clear that the Islamists were going to wipe out the Yazidis. And that's good. I applaud that. I'm happy they did. But what that tells me is that the Christians of Mosul were not worth intervening for. So The Yazidis are worth intervening for, but the Christians aren't. Christians, stop looking to the liberal secular state as if it's going to come to your aid. It's not. Christians, you have to become activists and stand up for your own community. You have to be activists, and you have to make the liberals listen, because they will never talk about what's happening in Nigeria, Egypt, Pakistan, Syria, Iraq, Chad, South Sudan, North Sudan, Iran, Tunisia, Morocco, Indonesia, Pakistan, Algeria. They're not going to talk about it. They're not going to talk about Christians being persecuted in Palestine. We have to break the media narrative. And that starts by freeing your own mind first.
Amen.
As many of us here in the park have. You who are watching need to free your mind. Realise that the liberal
this being, this angelic being, this individual, you know what I'm saying? Or this supposed king in some sections, you understand? King of Salam. Salam. King of Salam. But this angelic being, who is, you could say, Malachi, or what would you say in Islam for Michael, the angel Michael? We say Michael. You understand? So Michael is El Kidir. You understand? El Kidir. You get me? The green one. He is the high priest of the Most High. You understand? And Isa is the high priest of the order of, which is
let me call you. How? Yeah, but you
Why are you trying to humiliate me?
About how Muslim lands. Okay? So I did not, and the biggest lie he told us now was that I am saying that he claimed that I said that why should we not allow Tommy Robinson to say this? That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying a hateful, divisive statement should be condemned. This would be condemned if Tommy Robinson said the equivalent thing about Muslims, and yet they are seeking to defend and whitewash it when Muhammad in the Quran said it about non-Muslims. Okay, so this is what is exposing. This is what is exposing. Secondly, this is not applying. This is not necessarily applying to all Muslims, because there are many Muslims who say that they cast out these views. They say, no, these must be falsely reported by unreliable, untrustworthy people, because we believe in someone who during the battlefield, that's clearly nonsense. Secondly, he also gave the explanation for why Muhammad said I did say something and his explanation was that he heard some Jews saying death be upon you, and then decided to tell his supporters to be untrusting of all Jews. So that is like if someone, if an extremist says, oh, I had a bad experience with Muslims, and so do not commit to Muslims, because I had a bad experience with some Muslims, and so we should always force Muslims to the side of the road. That is a hateful, divisive statement, and he is still tap dancing, he is still trying to whitewash it, and yet, if a politician makes any of these statements, there will be clear examples of hate speech, and yet he is not holding Muhammad to the same standards that we are holding politicians today to. He is holding Muhammad to a lower standard, even though he is meant to be the ideal example. How does that make sense? Holding someone who is meant to be the ideal moral example to a lower standard than anyone living in polite society today. We are living, the Muslims living in Pakistan who did not slay that prisoner of war, they are acting in a better way than Muhammad's companions might have done. because under Muhammad's companions, they might want to. Okay. Yeah, and many times people surrendered work. I will find the examples of surrendered people.
We don't want to hear the examples anymore. It's clear now. Ladies and gentlemen, he wants to rant on. And we are now
that is why he is a Salafi. That is why he is a hypocrite. That is why if he was like a just Muslim with a sense of justice, he would not try and whitewash and smother and hide kind of hateful statements.
Thank you. We had plenty of time to peddle your hate, and it's been shown that you are Mr. Hater, who doesn't want to acknowledge anything good in Islam and the Muslims and the Prophet Islam, because if you did it, you would be coming back.
In the blue corner, you have James.
Things are not actually bad, they are in context.
No, they're not.
The context is
more.
What you're doing is using statements made in war as the Prophet is taking.
Number 6, number 3. I'm not even here.
You didn't see that? Sorry, bro. He's not here. I'm sorry, bro. That's twice or first.
As if I would be saying, George Bush actually said, we will go after Muslims and we will smoke them out from everywhere they are. This is how it is. Thank you very much for listening. Bye now.
Denying history.
Don't run, Adnan. Don't run. Don't run.
No, I bring the facts. You don't have anything. You're just denying anything bad. No, I'm fair. You try and whitewash slavery. Now you've tried to whitewash hateful statements. You know. I've already been. I'm showing everyone already.
You will continue. Yeah. You continue with your lies. You'll
continue being an Ikhwani. You'll continue trying to. Okay. He is an Ikhwani. He is.
The problem is.
I
said earlier.
He said something good.
I was saying earlier. You know, one of the reasons I am a Muslim.
I have productive people.
One of the reasons I'm a Muslim when I look at people like him.
Yeah,
they strengthen my faith in Islam. They strengthen my faith in Islam. I see the injustice and the lies of these people against Islam and Muslims and our prophets. They strengthen my faith. They strengthen my faith. You know why? Because we have been told in the Quran that people like him who are haters, they pick and choose and they completely ignore all the good things in our faith. That's the thing. You see, what they do is they take war statements made during war.
If he's bad, what's Tommy Robinson? Evil. All right. So where is he to people? Because he would say about Muslims directly. Yeah. He states certain things of fact.
There's a reason. Tommy Robinson is not a scholar. Right. He hasn't studied our faith. Right. He's a dope seller. He was convicted for fraud.
Right. The
he was
point
doing
I'm
building
making,
work, and then he landed himself on this platform with a lot of people watching his stuff. Why? Because he's saying controversial things. Okay, and for some reason, the intelligence in this country...
Can we put it in context? What I'm saying is, what is Tommy Robinson compared to that? You said he's evil, so what is he?
What he's doing, he's more dangerous than Tommy Robinson. Tommy Robinson is not taken seriously because he's just a street guy who doesn't speak English properly, not very eloquent, just an idiot. Okay, this guy... He comes across as educated. He has a folder with him. He has a folder with him, and he has some statements selectively chosen from the life of the Prophet.
Would you rather him just, because Muslims always asking you for facts, so would you rather him just come out with just empty statement? Isn't it better that he comes,
he comes, then we explain that he has made wrong conclusions from these statements. Why? He gives me a statement that this is what the statement says. For example, he gave us a report today. He said the Prophet commanded to do not greet the Jews and Christians first, and when you see them, push them aside, side of the road.
That's not true.
Okay, it is true. The statement is there, but when was it made is the question. It was made...
Hold on. So you're saying the statement is true?
Yes.
So now, your problem is it's got to be in context.
Yes, that's right.
So you're saying just the fact that it's been said,
yes,
right, is not enough.
Yes. I'm saying we need to understand the context. The context is the normative behavior of Muslims towards Jews and Christians is in question. Is that the normative behavior? Is that what the Muslims are supposed to do with Jews and Christians? Or is it time-bound? Or is it situation bound?
Let's stretch the point then.
As far as I know. Okay, no, let me very quickly.
No, I know what you're saying. Yeah. But as far as I know, if you're Jewish or Christian in a Muslim country, you have to pay a tax.
So do the Muslims.
No, that's not what I said. I'm not interested in what we're talking about. People. Yes, you have to pay a tax for being.
And Buddhists and Hindus and other faiths. This is called dhimmi tax. It's very, very specifically named, and it means the responsibility tax. What it is, let me explain. Dhimma in the Arabic language means responsibility. Okay, these people are the responsibility of the Muslim state. In order for to protect them, for example, their well-being, their security, their patrolling, the police service or the justice system, all of that to ensure the abattoirs.
Can they refuse to pay the tax?
Can anyone refuse to pay the tax anywhere in the world?
My friend, please. It's a specific question I'm asking.
No, they can't. Like anywhere else.
Refuse.
Yeah, you can't treat them separately though from the rest of humanity. Because can Muslims refuse to pay the tax to the Muslim state? No, it's a crime. No, it's a crime. It's a crime. If Muslims refuse to pay the tax to the state will come down hard on
Muslim state.
It will come hard. It will come hard on Muslims.
It's a Muslim state.
Yes.
Why is it an obligation for Buddhists to do that?
Okay, first of all, let me ask you something. Do you know how much do the Muslims pay and how much do the Christians pay? Or Jews pay?
I would assume that Muslims pay something like 20%.
25%? No, 2.5%. 2.5%. Okay. Or if a Muslim is a million, for example, there's a Muslim who has a million.
That's not zakat.
That's zakat. That's zakat.
Oh, so zakat is for whoever's in a Muslim state?
Yes, it's a tax.
You know, I didn't actually know that.
Okay, zakat is a tax.
No, I knew about zakat, but I didn't know that everybody else was obligated to pay.
But every Muslim has to pay. Those who have the money, for example, if a Muslim who has £1 million in his account, he will pay £25,000 to the state. Now look at a Jew living in the Muslim lands. He has £1 million in his bank account. How much does he pay?
I presume 1%.
He pays 4 grams of gold.
What's the percentage of that?
That's nearly £200, 150 pounds.
No. What's the percentage?
It's not worked by percentage.
Well, how's it?
It's worked by gold weight, which is a dinar.
Okay.
Dinar is 4 grams of gold.
What happens if Buddhists and whatever refuse to pay?
Sorry?
What happens if Buddhists and whatever refuse to pay?
Then the state will tell them that you have to pay, otherwise you'll go to court. Okay. Like anyone else, like Muslims.
I'm not talking about
It's punished. Ta'zir is the discretionary punishment, which is the discretion of the judge. Depending on the judge, he might fine them, he might order them. If they refuse, he might send them to prison for not paying the tax. You don't pay your council tax, you're going to prison. Like
no, it's not as simple as that.
Okay, so you're saying in Britain, if you don't pay your council tax, you don't go to prison.
You don't necessarily go to prison. You
can.
Okay,
no,
that's not the one to go on, because theoretically, tax was introduced for as a war chest, and then it was going to be removed. Right? It hasn't been. Strictly speaking, we're not supposed to pay tax, but most of us don't.
We have to. It's the law now. Yeah, I understand your point.
Okay.
I understand your point. But
I don't know. Do you know about a straw man? Okay.
I do.
Right, I thought you might somehow. Right, so it's a silly.
I'm not attacking
the rest of the people don't know, but you and I know.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Right, so when you talk about paying tax here, it's not quite as simple.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. One of the things I do like about Muslim is that zakat, but I didn't realise that it was extended to Buddhists and so on.
Yeah. Every Muslim and non-Muslim living in the Islamic State, not this Islamic State. Unfortunately, the name has been tarnished by these guys' actions. But any state governed by the Muslim
law.
Who are you talking about? No, I'm saying any state governed by the Muslim law.
So, do you disagree with everything he said that he came in and he brought up? I've heard him speak before, and he tends to
almost
come with facts.
Because he puts a spin on every single report from the Prophet. Because what he does is, if there are 10 reports...
Well, he says something, but your problematic, from what I could see, was your problem is context.
Yes.
Right? But when somebody's still saying exactly what he said, he's not necessarily going to say, there's a context. He's just going to say, it's up to you if their policy is off the same face the career.
Okay, well, you can maybe explore that possibility. From what I've read, I don't think that's likely at all. What was I about to say?
chair, bro.
So what I was talking about. Yeah, so there's that designation.
That is where my question is not coming up.
Yeah. So what I want to show is that you know that there will be as good of evidence of these kind of like offensive wars, attacks by Mohammed as those other historical sources we've read about after that. And to what I'm talking about are things that happened just in the last 2 years, 2.5 years of Muhammad's life when he was at his most powerful. So like what you've said about his kind of origin story up until that point, yeah, he has been oppressed. But then like the historical reports that I've seen, once he's kind of reached that level of power where he has control of Mecca, then he starts kind of trying to aggressively spread his religion. So I'll send you an email and then you can have a look at it. Yeah, that'd be cool.
You see that white having from like fear of being oppressed, like from coming from such an oppressed state, I feel like we might be doing it a little bit of injustice.
Would you make that excuse for having back for a new number?
I personally, I let Islam deal with the caliph. Yeah, I let Islam deal with that. I can't get around it now. I can get around the politics. So like, my thing is like, look at South Africa. People are personal. Many times in South Africa, they might have to remove the oppressors by force, and they might have to remove people who might not necessarily be an oppressor. You know what I'm saying? But they have like, I'm just thinking, from coming from such an oppressed state. When this one finishes, I was thinking, it's fine to think about. You might think you're still standing to school when policies, when gave you that chance, I'm going to try and stand these other policies to do it before. The last week we came in trying to stop this needs to turn around. You can
mine has been fucked up so I live where it's and then this house is shit, and then I swear I'm like, and then I'm out in Boston.
So.
Can you show us where Muhammad opened the eyes of the blind?
Well, of course, man.
It says Muhammad opened the eyes of the blind. It says that. Have you seen it? So Muhammad is speaking and he's saying, I'm opening the eyes of the blind. Have you seen it?
I'd like to know that
Yeah, that's a true one as well. Yeah. But that's in the Bible. See this, you got living here, not neither will get to what's his baptizing sorry, point which one does that? Give me the next verse.
Many people don't read the Quran, and a guy from the Middle East speaks
Muslims already.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. So they are all benefit, don't have benefit.
Come BCCI staff, let's get in that van and work out the wages. Have you paid the Jizra? Work out the wages, how much you want?
To be able to get basic concepts. So my thing to you is, this is what we need. We need people to basically
come on DCCI, let's go.
Who are superior in intellect. And this is my message. It's not actually to kind of...
I'm not being disrespectful, but you confuse me more.
Sorry,
bro. I need to go, though. I need to go.
Right, so,
Good? You're right, bro. You're right, fam.
You guys...
Where is it? Muhammad is saying he has commanded to fight people, okay? You know, he's saying unless they pray like we pray, unless they slaughter like we slaughter, their blood and property will be sacred to us. It's very clear then. It's very clear that Muhammad was calling the Romans, was fighting the Romans in order to call them to Islam. Let's not go round in circles. You just said that Muhammad was fighting in self-defense. And I've asked you for a reference. Show me where Surah 929 refers to people fighting in self-defense. You haven't shown me where people are being attacked. No, you didn't show me, still not showing me. You went and read Surah 913, which is talking about pagans. Surah 929 is not talking about pagans, it's talking about Jews and Christians. When I'm finished, you need to speak and I have to go soon. No. But you need to show me where the context of Surah 929 is referring to self-defense.
Firstly, I never ever said it's only self-defense. I never said that.
Okay.
Number two, the hadith that you quoted, can you prove to me that it's about Christians? The hadith that you quoted that we will fight them until they profess La ilaha illallah. Can you prove to me that that is talking about the Christians and Jews? Prove it. If you prove it, I'm going to do a public apology and I'm never going to come to the party.
It says, but Allah, and if they pray like we do, if they face the Qibla like we do Christians pray like Muslims? No. Do Christians face the Qibla? No. Do Christians slaughter like Muslims? No. He says, if they do this, their blood and their property is sacred to us, only if they are Muslims.
Okay, so let me repeat again.
Our blood, why are people's blood and property sacred only if they're Muslims?
I'll repeat again.Maybe you did not understand. I did not ask for your commentary because you are not qualified at all to be talking about this hadith at all. Can you show me any scholar that has said this is applied to the Christians?
So who is it?
Thank you. Now you are a student. You have to have a student-teacher relationship here. Good. You need to ask me, who is it for? It's for the Quraysh. It's talking about the Quraysh. Let me finish. Go to any of the scholars. I don't have the names now. All of them say it's for Quraysh. And why? Because they are the ones who expelled the Prophet. Let me finish. Let me finish. To be continued. Why? Because they persecuted the Muslims, they killed Muslims, women, men, they persecuted them, kicked them out of their lands. Go to Surah Buruj. Go to Surah 2, Surah Buruj verse 7, Surah Tawbah verse 13, go to Surah Baqarah verse 190 to 194. Look, if I carry on talking, you're going to think I'm talking name.
No, we are listen. We're talking about Surah 929.
Hello.
I'm talking about Bukhari. I'm talking about Bukhari. No.
Listen very carefully.
Show me where
Can you please prove it? Can you please prove it? Prove to me. No, sorry, there's a lady, but she's a hate preacher. She's one of the reasons why the New Zealand guy attacked and killed Muslims. It's because of people like you who are hate preachers who come to the park and preach hate. When have I ever blamed Christianity for attacks that happen to Muslims?
Why are you heckling?
There you go. My thoughts are. You're a hate preacher. You're a hate preacher. You are a hate preacher.
Why are you heckling?
It's because of you. Our sisters, I don't want to shut you down. If I want to shut you down, you are a hate preacher. You are a hate preacher. You know why? Because of you and your lies, innocent Muslims are being killed. Just the way ISIS preaches hate and innocent Muslims get killed. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed of yourself. You have no knowledge. Prove it. Prove it. Prove it.
I've told you
Prove it. Prove it.
That's the fact.
Show me where
it
it says kill the Christians and Jews because they're fake. Please prove it. Please prove it. The bad Christians and the Jews who were attacking the Muslims. Thank you. There you go.
No, but you,
no.
I've got reference upon reference.
Okay, was there Jews and Christians attacking the Muslims?
I've asked you,
was there Jews and Christians attacking the Muslims?
Defending their lands against invasion by Muslim forces, but you don't tell us that. You don't tell us that, brother. No, you don't tell us that.
Have you guys noticed? I upon reference. You've not referenced anything. You're telling me your opinion. You've not referenced anything. That's what. No, I've been referencing.
You're not even qualified.
I've been referencing.
You're not even qualified. Show me where it tells us we have to kill you if you don't accept Islam. I dare you. Thank you.
It's over.
That's what these preachers, they come here, they talk a lot of this, yeah? And when they're confronted, oh, she's back. She's back now. Hello. Hi. This is what happens, yeah? When you preach hate, you get confronted. You know why? Because we don't want innocent people to die. Be it Muslim or non-Muslim. And to die that these people can.
How are you?
You're not righteous, man.
No, are you okay? I clicked a couple of things you didn't see. Of course.
All your brothers and sisters left now. Thankfully, all your
Hey, like I said, don't take the trade. Don't take the trade.
Ask him the same response. Fourth day, Prophet Muhammad said, let him go through. He went. There's the character. The man that you tried to kill him, the man that you killed most of his companions, he's dealing with you this way? He couldn't believe it. He went, he took shower, he came back. He said, oh Muhammad, I bear witness, you're the messenger of God. You see the conduct, the character. When the Prophet Muhammad entered to Mecca, now, remember Prophet Muhammad in the beginning, salam, they tried to kill him. They killed Sumayya, one of his companions, female. They killed Yasir. They tried to kill many companions. They tried to kill him. When he came back, because they never had power. When he came back with the power, with 10,000 companions, one of the guys that tried to kill him, Prophet Muhammad said to him, he said, oh Muhammad, give me 1 month to figure out Islam. He said, I'll give you 3 months. Oh. You see? Understand? Prophet, of course, as I mentioned, of course, Prophet, there was a time when he fought against some enemies because the only way to get rid of them by fighting against them. Because those people, they don't give life any values.
Pick up the 100 in the chat.
Understand? So that's from one angle that I can come to you about Islam. Inshallah.
Thank you very much.
This is my
He was very kind to me. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure to speak to you.
Thank you.
Look after yourself. Sorry, can I give you a book? I don't want to bombard you, but it's a nice book.
Bombard you.
Sometimes you give some many books, many leaflets. This is a gift.
I'll choose a different word.
You know, truly, all the time you're Muslim.
I know. I didn't want to break it to you. Thank you so much.
Oh, he's not.
I thought he was Muslim. Inshallah ta'ala. If you have any question, you can ask me. Take care. Look after yourself. All right, take care. Yeah. Have a nice night. Take care.
So he's not? I thought he was.
Yeah, he was. Just general. Who's recording here? Alhamdulillah, that's what I like about speakers.
Jewish. Jewish.
Yes, big up everyone. See what Raj is saying.
We allow them to have their rights. Yeah? So it's not a question of you're mixing up tolerance with approval. They're not the same thing.
Alright, so let me say that.
We advocate tolerance, but not approval.
Let me just answer this point.
Just give me 2 seconds.
Okay. What I'm saying to you is, no, Avegi, stop. What I'm saying to you is, we expect tolerance back from them as well. We're not expecting them to approve of Islam as well. The same thing that we expected from them, we also expect the same back. You know what I'm saying? We're not saying to accept Islam and become Muslim and do what we do. We're just asking for
Please don't disturb me for 1 minute. I'm asking you. You are doing a straw man argument. I'm not telling you to say that your views on homosexuality is wrong or right. What I'm saying to you is that you're demonizing the community by saying if we allow this homosexuality to be propagated in schools, the next stage will be paedophilia and then having sex with animals. That is demonizing that group because you're saying that by allowing them to be who they are, it would then be a domino effect, and the whole of society will become deranged and debauched. The same thing is well, debauched. Having sex with dogs and with their children is debauched, in my opinion. So basically, when it comes to the far right, what they are saying is this: that if we allow Muslims to practice their faith, orthodox, in the way they want, the West will start to lose, and they'll have a knock-on effect, a negative effect. That's scaremongering as well. What you're doing is the exact same thing, and I want to call that the hypocrisy of it, because you're scaremongering a particular community. Remember, I'm not
Which
the
community?
I'm the LGBTQ community. I'm not the
Which
LGBTQ
community exactly?
warrior. Because a lot of people think I'm a warrior for the LGBT. I'm not. I just like to say the minority here and people that aren't demonized. There you go, man.
Let me have my minute.
Are you a warrior for
It's on record that I am a person with same-sex attraction.
The day Tommy takes
So
over,
in the language of some people out there, I'm gay, but I don't practice. I don't do anything about it. So it's not that I'm demonising them lot. I'm someone who has same-sex attraction. And I can't help that. It's just the way I am. Yeah?
Same with Colin. Big up Colin.
So I'm not going to get married to a woman because it wouldn't be just to her because I couldn't have sexual relations. Right? So I'm not demonising them lot. What I'm saying is someone who understands. I used to be part of that community, the LGBT whatever, many years ago. I'm no longer part of it. When I became a Christian, I left it. But what I'm saying is I'm not demonising community. I'm saying as Muslims we have a problem. That from the 1960s onwards, the West keeps on changing the goalposts. It keeps on changing the rules of the game. In 1960, whatever, 60, forget, abortion on demand was allowed. And we think killing unborn children is murder. Then there was free available of artificial contraception. Then there was the decriminalising of homosexuality. Then there was gay marriage. And then there was this. And then there was the West keeps on telling us to adopt new standards, new ethics. It keeps on changing the goalposts. It keeps on changing us to jump through another hoop. Because if we don't do it,
well, you're saying you objective morality.
We are somehow failing as British citizens, and if we keep on changing our morality to conform to an ever-changing Western morality, and I tell you, in the future, 10 years ago, I remember it was unthinkable that there would be something called gay marriage. Unthinkable. But now it's accepted everywhere.
Roger heard about it.
Unthinkable. Anyway. And I tell you, in 10 years' time, or however many years' time, my prediction that paedophilia will be seen as completely normal and acceptable, and Muslims will say, "Why are you so un-British? And why are you accepting paedophilia?" No, I'm not scared, because we've seen. Sister.
In this country, in India, it happens very, very quickly.
So I'm saying that Muslims are required, it seems, always to keep up with the latest changes in Western morality. Now, Islam is rooted in fixed, unchanging values that God has ordained. We can't change our morality. Now, I know Christians change their morality. The Church of England, for example, is always changing its views because it's given up. It follows on. The society changes, the church trots on behind like a poodle and adopts its values. Yeah, the Church of England does that, the Methodist Church does that, the URC does it, Quakers do it, they all do it. Even the Catholic Church is sort of moving in that direction a bit. But Muslims, because we're stubborn on the revelation of God, we will not bend the knee to whatever fashion, passing fashion, it will change again in 5 years' time. Because we follow God, we don't follow men who are constantly changing their minds about what is and what isn't, changing the goalposts. And that's what we can remind British people about, their Christian tradition, which is also rooted in revelation. Remind them of their own values, which they had chosen in the name of pleasure, short-term gains and whatever. Remind them of that. They have to become Muslim, just be faithful to God and the tradition they've been given, and then they'll be better people, happier people. Our society will have fewer divorces, fewer abortions, happier people. It'll be a better society if they do that. And that's what we can contribute as Muslims, to remind them of those values that make for the common good. Because we've lost those values.
Well, I agree with you on this.
Thank you. We can all go home now.
I agree with you on the sense that I've always said that I'm for traditional values, and I believe the only way to sustain the civilization of people is to have traditional values. Now, I'm not arguing what you are saying is totally wrong. What I'm trying to say is this: you have these people here, transgenders, homosexual, people that we don't agree with their lifestyles maybe. They're there. What do you do? Do you just ostracize them and demonize them?
I've already told you, I'm one of those, but I'm someone with same-sex attraction.
But you don't practice.
Exactly.
So
I'm not demonizing myself.
Hypothetical though. right now there's an issue up in Birmingham, yeah, which is kind of causing tension around the country as well. Because, yeah, no, but what I'm saying is that in the hypothetical, because what they're saying, what would happen if the whole of the UK started taking the kids out of these classes?
Hey, I hope they do.
You don't. I mean,
I hope they do.
But say if they, let me ask you, say if they raise that age, because I do believe 5 years old is way too young. That is silly. But what if they raise that age to 10 years old?
Well, I think I agree with this lady here. 16, you said.
Yeah, I said 16.
So I'll give it 16 because kids shouldn't be told about sex. They shouldn't be told about sodomy. They shouldn't be told about transsexuality and all this.
But you say about in the Bible it's about sodomy with Lot and all that.
I'm talking about the Bible. I'm talking about.
But they read that anyway.
I'm not sure they read the whole Bible. There's some really dirty bits in Ezekiel which I won't even speak on camera, which are pornographic. They don't mention that. What I'm saying is, in schools, our kids should not be taught that. They shouldn't be taught this is normal behaviour. So if you see, it's all about parental rights here. Parents have a right that their children should be given education in English, in maths, in geography, not on these matters unless they're much older, when they're mature enough to actually understand what's been spoken about and make their own decisions. So it's right that parents should take their kids, and the Secretary of State is acknowledging this now. You see, we have a Conservative government. The Conservative government is the natural ally of parents. They believe in parents' control, and ironically, the government has forced this on their children, and now they're backing off. The Secretary of State saying, okay, maybe we should force this on kids. They're giving more rights to the government than they are to the parents. Even things with like social services. If you go and hit your child, then social services have the right to go and take your kid. They're trying to make this is how the society is breaking down. And the system has a the system has a huge part to play in it, because they're giving the kids more rights over their own parents. And this is how the society is breaking down. And this has got nothing to do with Islam, anything like this. Brother said, Islam has the solution. But I'm not expecting. I wouldn't
go that far.
I'm not expecting people to accept it, because there is no compulsion in religion. If they don't want to accept it, that's fine. But they do not have the right to try and change our views. And we don't have the right to change their views.
You're saying you're not going to change ever, and the other side is saying they're not going to change ever. How are you ever going to come?
What are we doing though?
I'm not telling you to change your religion.
The only thing they have a problem with is the fact that we're Muslim. They don't like the fact that we're Muslim.
I'm not telling you to change your fundamentals of your religion. I'm just saying be more accepting of other people and other people's rights.
I'm accepting other people as human beings. You see, it is. Anything, it doesn't exist. People are human beings and they're made to worship God. Now, Islam has always acknowledged that people with certain feelings. If you're looking back in the classical discussions, it's always acknowledged that. But it's never identified people by their sexuality, like that's a gay person, that doesn't exist in Islam. So we are told to always respect other people, give them their legal rights. But we're not encouraged to indoctrinate our children that these lifestyles are normal and acceptable.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. We're not disagreeing.
And Catholics agree with us on this. Traditional Jews, even atheists agree with us on this. So it's not a Muslim issue. It's a traditional versus liberal issue.
I agree with you. I'm just saying that maybe there needs to be a bit more of a compromise. The government is saying 5 years old. I'm saying, you lot are saying 16. I mean, why not come in the middle ground, like 11 or 12
years old? There's no middle ground, that's just younger. So, you know, we think...
Are you saying to me that there's not a difference between a 5-year-old and an 11-year-old?
I'm saying that they don't have the emotional maturity, the life experience at 5 or 10. 16 is a much better age. Because then they can make informed decisions about human beings out there in society. But telling a 5-year-old kid about this stuff, this is wrong. And it's not important to them. This is only about maths and English.
We're always going to kind of like disagree with on that particular issue, but in generally, like it's in a situation about like the way our is narrative from the far right that Muslims can't be in the West, they can't be British. This is a narrative that is concerning from me as well. I do believe that Muslims are part of the West and are an integral part of the UK as well. I do believe that Muslims are British, they're not like they can be British, and the people on the white indigenous population need to start accepting as well. It's not just one way. But there are people, I've heard it, that Muslims can't be British.
It's like you're English despite your
non-English. So the thing is that I'm British Punjabi Sikh. If you want to classify yourself as a British Pakistani Muslim, that's fine with me. I don't care what order you see yourself in, but you need that component of being British in order for us to have something.
Come back to the far right. If you actually read far right stuff on the internet, like the alt-right and so on, which I do, you'll find that they share this. It's a very unpopular thing to say, but people go, oh, how can you say that? but many of their concerns are the same as our concerns. They also support traditional marriage. They also are against third wave feminism, this idea that women are interchangeable with men and that gender is a social construct.
That's one thing Islam's got right.
So that's the only one thing, right? Teaching their kids in school. They actually, on a whole range of issues that we've been talking about, they would agree with us. Yeah, they do.
I mean,
I've
said that.
This is the irony of this. The far right, who you say are hostile, they are hostile to Muslims, actually agree with Muslims.
But this is the point that we're trying to say.
This is the irony.
This is the point. This is the point. So what
we actually agree.
So what Ralph was saying on the live stream was that he sees Islam as a powerful force that he respects in a way because of its structure. When I say respect, I don't mean the way you think as a force that's strong.
He said the 50 dead was target practice.
So yeah, we condemn
Ralph
that.
said it was target practice.
I said it. Yeah. You mad? I said it. You crazy?
Ralph said it was
Ralph.
That's your brethren.
What happened here? So basically,
that's your brethren.
So basically, when it and I totally condemn that.
Yeah, you condemn it, but it's still your brethren.
But the thing is, not my brethren. So basically,
I love it. On the same side.
When it comes to this situation about the whole kind of like with Ralph.
Imagine if a Muslim said that. Imagine if a Muslim said 9/11 was target practice. Imagine if
Are you going to join the conversation?
1 minute. Imagine if a Muslim said 9/11.
Are you going to join the conversation?
I condemn them, but I'm still aligned with them. Does that make any sense? Come on, are you going to join me?
Can we also talk about the rape in India? There's a rape every 12 seconds.
You're a homophobe. You're crazy. The amount of bullshit comes out your channel, anti-black, anti-white, all of this now, and you're calling me a racist. So basically,
you're a hypocrite.
When it comes to this situation with Ralph, he believes that.
Oh, Tommy.
When Tommy takes over, you'll be the first one he's going to kick out because he wouldn't like your outlook.
You understand? It's like two strong civilizations that can't coexist.
You know what?
I believe they can.
Raj, I'm an Englishman, born an Englishman.
Yeah, Ras has gone live as well. Give a quick.
I love Islam. I don't want to water it down, reform it, change it, liberalise it.
Yeah, man, Ras is live as well, man. We're all live tonight.
He's wrong. And if he likes to come to me, I can explain to him why he's wrong.
They will say, look at you, you're English heritage, you're English, what is this your values?
Respect Rebellion live, powered by MistaRax.
In fact, it means a rediscovery of our English heritage. Our respect for our elders, our respect for our parents, our respect for men and women, and God. Let me give you an example of English history, Raj. Not that anyone's going to listen. Example of English history. There's a guy called Thomas More, who is Henry VIII's Chancellor, who was executed on in the 16th century. And he said that he remade the king for the gods.
The one Sikh who became a Muslim. Once, I swear, this is not a lie.
He said, and what's his name? He said,
whatever that is, it's not good. So you have to now.
I think we might have been in that shot.
Yes.
I'm going to give you the last one.
Pretty dead still. Who's over here? Oh, Ali Dawa.
Aki, this is something that you would love. No. Don't listen, Ali, don't give up. I don't want to give up.
I'm still waiting to prove that I'm taking No, that is claim. I'm accepting every living thing.
Do you know what? If you know the sunnah, then you know the people. What is the sunnah?
No recording. No recording.
Protesting. What's the sunnah with us? We're talking about general to specific. Can it change? Can it change? Can it change? This is the reply you
You said that there's a difference between when there's a Muslim and non-Muslim, or when there's violent protests and non-violent protests. I asked you, who gave that definition? Because none of the scholars gave that definition. So I'm asking, who gave that definition?
No. After what's Abbas? So what's Abbas protest? Are you saying that? Are you saying what's Abbas protest? So what do you think about Abbas?
I'm saying, Sheikh Abbas, do you think it's
No, you talk about protesting. Don't just
protesting.
No, go back to this point.
No.
Protesting. You talk about protesting. He asked the question. Who do you got that from? Only you play around, brother. That's what I'm saying.
I believe.
He plays around. When you advise him, he plays around. Define the course. Define the course. Define the course.
Hear me out.
I can hear you. محمد بن هادي شيخ زايد الشيخ عبد القادر بن هادي فين؟ شيخ بن هادي I used to know him. Okay, why? No.
You asked me a question. Let me make a few points. Let me make a few points. No. Let me talk. I just want to. I know. Give me an answer. He can give you your answer to your question. No. They can give you an answer to your question. I need you to let me talk. Let me talk.
Excuse me, are you recording? No.
Why? He's in public.
It's alright.
Big fish, man.
That was like.
What are you saying?
You know, I had to get back. Come on.
I got dated. Ras is live as well, man. On my phone. What are you saying? Yeah, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're live as well. Everybody live. That's correct.
I was looking for you owe me a Islam as a religion, as a concept of submission, is not meant for any specific racial or ethnic group, it's meant for the whole of humankind. That's why I find the Quran says, we have got something except for all of humankind. But most people don't know much.
So, are you going to say any of the Nabis and the prophets that came was not related to each other?
No, they're all related to each other.
Okay, so how can you send the prophet to different nations if all the prophets are related?
Yeah, so like for example, like you mentioned Egypt, or whatever. So we know for sure that there were prophets sent there because they're mentioned in the book. They came from there. Yeah.
Some were sent.
Yeah, some were sent.
What are you lot on? What are you lot on?
You understand? Big
Live.
The accents, mate. How you
is
doing,
it?
my man?
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, we're going to go down to the
man.
pub later. I don't drink though, but I'm going to have a bit
why
of
you got to
fun.
say that on camera, man? Now they're going to start saying
I'm going to the pub. I didn't say her, man. She don't drink though.
Well, at the end of the day, right?
Where's my Cockney bros, man?
I don't drink anymore.
Do you miss McDonald's?
McDonald's, I don't know, man. McDonald's is a bit too highbrow for me.
That one, I mean.
Yeah, I do miss it.
They locked it off, man. Why did they lock it
That
off?
pissed me off, man. Like, I have to hold my... I've got a better bladder, though, no doubt about it. But, you know, some people, you know, I don't know. when they start uppercutting and places start closing down.
No comment.
Is it coincidence? I don't know.
No comment, no comment.
Hey, I'm gonna have to shoot. Can I just say something? Happy Vasaki to all my Sikh bros. I'm not gonna be back for 3 weeks. I am gonna be doing some Nagara Kirtan and stuff. I know Sikhs say, oh Rod, you're a disgrace, blah blah. I don't give a shit what you think. I will be at Gravesend on the 13th. I will be in Leicester for around 3 days and doing some art class and stuff. And I'm going to be in Parliament.
Can you do a portrait of me? How much for a portrait of me?
Send me an email, man.
Yeah, I want a portrait.
I'm going to be in Parliament as well, man. So
you're right. Yeah.
You're going to be in Parliament. Yeah,
Fam, why you always wear the same clothes?
What are you doing in Parliament?
Huh?
What are you doing in Parliament?
I'm exhibiting.
Yo, fam, why you always wear the same clothes?
I'm exhibiting in Parliament, man.
Get lost areas, fam. Some dead swag, fam. How long have you been wearing them shoes for? Like years, man. Yeah. They don't record me, man. What the fuck is this guy doing?
Bloody hell. Raj loves to record the ones that I
You say we're back here. Somebody call you back here. Come on. Go out. No, I mean, no face, no face.
No, be close.
Yes.
I'm going to be going home now anyway.
Somali corner's back.
No, he said it wasn't a no face thing.
I'm gonna ride the horsey now. Let's put the saddle on. I'm gonna put the saddle on. I'm gonna start putting the saddle on. I'm gonna put the saddle on. I'm gonna get my flute again. You say my flute's in the bag. You say it, cuz. You say it, talk black. The pipe black. Talk black. You say it, cuz. Let's do it again. You saying kitchen breath? You saying KFP? What you saying? I'm gonna be riding. Ralph, put you in it, your friend Ralph. Ah, stop lying, man. What about your mates that are Hebrew Israelites? You're all in cahoots. What about your mates who are You're all in cahoots. Who hate white people. And I'm forever debating them on that one list. Yeah. You're homophobic and you're racist as well. So watch this, watch a man follow us. Watch a man, yeah. Just because you relate to Simon, because both you ain't got balls. No. Yeah, don't mean I gotta relate to Simon for chopping off his balls. Watch this flute. Come on, follow me. You pigeon pie, boy. Yo, boy. Pigeon pie. Yeah, you can't straighten down, can you? You can't run.
Raj, stand still, man.
Pigeon breath, motherfucker. Talking about you, hypocrite. You should have only rubbed yourself. I'm probably rubbing in the time of your back. Your whole culture. You feel like you feel dumb. I might be
Islamophobic, Raj! It kills! Islamophobic kills!
Let's see how many people are going to start following us.
Are you recording this?
Raj. When Raj talk about the rape in India, there is a rape in India every 10 seconds. Can Raj talk about that, please?
It's not me. Raj, you did it again.
Oh, the pilgrim, we done one lap though.
You got one lap.
Pilgrimage to Raj. That's what you call a clout chaser, man. Just following me just for the views, man. That's all he wants to do. Can't do shit. But the flute come in use today, though. Unfortunately, Gay Dunya broke that little pussy over that flute. Let me say something. Is this live?
Yeah.
Gay Dunya, yeah? You're the worst road man, yeah? You're a pussy-o. I called you a pussy-o the other week to your face over there, and you're a road man that's supposed to be an ex-drug dealer or whatever you are, foul drug dealer. You can't even deal drugs properly. And what are you talking about, man? You can't do shit. Your reputation is shot. This fat Sikh here called you a pussy-o to your face. You little turd. Let me do the pilgrimage to Raj.
It's never fun with Raj.
One lap.
It kills. It's never fun, it kills. It's never fun to kill Raj, boy.
Some more Sikh kill you.
It's never fun to kill Reggie, boy.
He's got a board in his pocket and some more in his hand. That's the type of bunda is, man.
Leave the bag, leave the bag.
I just got one question. I mean, I've got one question.
Is to keep away from the idols, the shirk, the association with God, trying to make something level with God. But when you try to make something level with God, that's when you commit shirk, polytheism. And that's what and the Prophet would say, lead you to the path of hellfire. In Africa, there's idol worship everywhere, to be honest. Like, Africa's a big continent. There's like, I don't know how many people do it.
When you say idol worship, like, I don't know about giving reverence. I don't know about idol worship.
Yeah, okay, but maybe it's not a thing. Yeah, I agree. The African, for us, we believe that the African people were much more receptive than, for example, from our perspective, from a historical angle, the Europeans, in terms of accepting the law. That's why when Islam spread to West Africa, it was much more easy reception and accommodation of the religion.
And then the interesting.
Yeah, man, this is dead now anyway.
But then another interesting thing is that
It's too dark. I can't be bothered. Big up everyone.
Because we've never understood God like this. We've got too late.